This is Power Athlete Radio. With your hosts, Denny K, Professor Booty, and the Luke Summers. And now, toes forward, hips locked, shoulders set, and retract those scapulars. It's time for some knowledge bombs.
It's that time again. We got a great show for you. Episode 32. As always, I'm joined with Luke Summers and Steve Playtech. We're ready to rock and roll. How you doing, guys?
What's going on?
What's up, Denny?
Kicking ass and taking names.
So nothing's changed since last podcast?
Nothing's. How about that last podcast, huh? Tom Inclinon, man. Dude just got knowledge, unbelievable knowledge.
It's crazy. I mean, that was pretty tame for him, which is says something. What was it, like 23 years of schooling? Is that what he said?
Yeah, he's got like 3-4 degrees.
Yeah, he's like the real mad scientist. I'll have to find some pictures of him, like more candid pictures, nothing off of his website, because he's really a mad scientist.
I train with guys who are younger than he has age in education.
That's crazy.
But I like the stories were cool. The strongman stories, hanging out with Kazmaier and all those guys. CrossFit Football put out that link for the strongman 30 years competition. Very cool. I watched that this morning.
Yeah.
So what else is coming out of headquarters, Luke? How's Wade's Army or Wade's Wings?
Wade's Wings they'll be the recipient of all the hard work that Wade's Army has done. I think last I checked, we were at $38,000, and who knows, by the time this airs, I'm actually this is going to be the week after I ship off to Argentina. This one's going to post, but we might be close to $45,000 by event day. So the Wade's WOD is going to be November 12th. We're going to have Wade's WOD posted on CrossFitFootball.com. We're going to have multiple locations around the world doing the workout, and what we're looking for is for people to sport their Wade shirt. What we ended up happening is we got over 550 shirts. We packed them, shipped them all out. They're in the USPS. They're on their way to all, I think 6 or 7 different countries. They're going across the country. People are going to have them. Most people are going to have them in time for the workout. The second half of the 800 people who are requesting shirts, they're going to get those the later part of November. So, but what we want to see is videos. We want to see photos. We want to see what your Wade's event day looks like. We're super excited for this, and this ended up being huge relative to last year. And if this growth is indicative of what we might be able to do in 2014, I can't even imagine what it's going to turn into. So, we're excited, but from here on out, it's about celebrating Wade and his life that's been cut too short, and the fight against neuroblastoma. That's what it's all about, and that all comes to a head November 12th. So get ready, people. It's going to be a blast.
Cool. How about the seminars? Taking off to Argentina soon, huh?
Yeah, so I take off in about 24 hours. It's going to be a 14-hour flight, but that'll all be old news by the time this posts. I'll be on the second portion of my Argentinian adventure, which is I'm bringing my girlfriend along to the cert. She's going to be helping coach, and John and Tex, they're flying back Monday after the cert. They take off midday and then arrive early Tuesday morning back in the States. But I'm staying to the following Saturday. So I'm going to see what Buenos Aires has to offer, take a little ferry to Uruguay, maybe go horseback riding, maybe have some wine, all you can eat steak. I don't know. It's just throwing it up in the air, throw caution to the wind, and enjoy a little vacation.
Nice, man. You deserve it.
So Denny, I'm just going to go ahead and throw this out there. That trumps Bon Jovi for lady time.
Okay. Yeah. You know what, though? I got a happy wife. It's all about a happy wife's a good wife, right? I'll sacrifice Bon Jovi and his pearly white teeth and his rock and roll lifestyle. Yeah, Argentina, maybe next year.
Maybe, but then after that, it's all work. Basically a cert every weekend up through the holiday. So we got Nevada, California, NorCal. We're gonna be heading up there. John's gonna be going to that seminar, and then Tampa, and then we have 2 certs on the 14th and 15th of December. That's going to be in Hawaii and Oklahoma. We're going to be in Honolulu and Oklahoma City. So we're going to spread the team on that weekend. So it's going to be a busy couple months near the end of the year. But a little time for decompression in Buenos Aires never hurt anybody.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys. Well, we got some special guests joining us today. We have Rob Windsor and Hannah Jenner. How you guys doing?
Good, thank you.
Wonderful, thanks.
All right, so Rob's from Long Island, New York, and Hannah, Great Britain, correct?
That is correct.
And you guys are training for the Transat Jacques Vabre.
Yeah.
How did that come out?
You got it right.
Did that come out okay?
Yeah,
it came out pretty good.
All right, France's prestigious 5,600-mile month-long sailing race, which launches November 3rd. It leaves Le Havre, France. Yeah?
You're killing it, man.
Am I? Dude, I'm on a roll. Here we go. And it ends in Itajá, Brazil.
It was close.
It was close.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thanks for cutting me some slack. So guys, you contacted Power Athlete. You kind of gave us a little story, some background about yourselves, about the race and about your training. So let's just start from the beginning. And Rob and Hannah, if you could just give our listeners a little bit, some background history about yourselves, and then we can kind of lead into how you train or how you two chose to train a month-long sailboat race. Sound good? Let's start with
great.
Rob.
So I'm like you said, I'm from Long Island. Got a wife and 14-year-old son. I've been sailing professionally for about the last 10 years. And I don't know what else you want to know. I played basketball in college. So I had some fitness training before. It's funny. People think about sailboat racing, and I think people think about sailing and they think Jimmy Buffett and Margaritaville, and this is not like that at all. So I'm excited to be on here with you guys, and maybe we can shed a little light into what sailboat racing is all about and how we use CrossFit to get there.
Excellent. Hannah?
Well, I'm 33 and I've been sailing professionally for about 10 years. And in that time, I've raced around the world and sailed across the Atlantic 13 times. So this will be number 14. I did this race 2 years ago, and it was a pretty tough experience. We saw some hurricane force winds, which is never that pleasant. But this time around, working with Rob, we've sailed 6,000 miles together this year, and we're really well prepared, fit, strong. The boat's looking good, and we're excited to go.
Nice. So so a month-long race. Are you on the water for a month, or do you just go a certain distance and then there's you take breaks somewhere? How does that work?
There's no breaks. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the shortest amount of time we're looking at will be 25 days. But hopefully we will be done within 30 days. So somewhere between 25 to 30 days, around the clock. No stopping, no nothing. Just keep going.
So in your 10 years, Hannah, how many times have you done this race?
This race, this will be my second time doing this race because it's pretty tough to get to the start line. You've got to find sponsorship and the boat and all the rest of it. But it will be the 14th time I've sailed across the Atlantic. So I've done that a lot.
And
how many boats are racing?
There you go.
There's 44 boats in the event, but there's 25 boats like the boat that we're sailing on, which is a class 40. It's a 40-foot. It's a one design class.
Okay.
So there's 25. We'll be racing against 25 other boats in our class.
Wow. Are you guys familiar with a guy named Hugo Vallin?
No.
Hugo Vallin holds the Guinness Book of World Record for crossing the Atlantic in the smallest vessel ever. It was like 3 feet long or something like that. So you guys are doing it like first class style.
Oh yeah, it's totally first class.
Compared to that, it sounds very first class. The guy must be a nutter.
That's funny.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, he's a nutter.
However, we have absolutely no first class luxuries. We don't even have a toilet.
Yeah, so
yes. You don't have a toilet?
No, we have a bucket.
Just hang over the side of the boat?
We hang over the side of the boat, or we use basically a spackle bucket. So,
nice.
So out of those, so
I would assume on a super long boat you wouldn't have that stuff either, but I don't know.
Well, let's talk about demands here. So you guys are going to be going maybe 25 days, basically 24 hours on. I assume you guys are taking shifts, right? Or there's like, is it a 2-person team?
Yeah, that's just me and Rob, and we usually try and sail for 3 hours, like one person on deck, and then you go below and you try and sleep. Well, you have 3 hours off, but it's not just a case of either sailing or sleeping. We have to eat, we have to navigate, we probably have to fix the boat a little bit or maybe fix the sails. So in reality, we probably end up with 5 or 6 hours sleep on a good day, spread out over the 24-hour period. But usually there's only one of us on the deck and one of us down below.
So now do you, just as we'll get into your physical training leading up to the event, but do you guys replicate that scenario in your training? Like, do you intentionally train in a sleep deprived state, or do you prepare for sleep deprivation? What's your strategy with that?
That's a good question. No, I try to get as much sleep as possible when I'm on land. But I think some of the training we've done is go out and practice and go out for a few days and do some deliveries, do some, training on the boat, on the water together. We sailed across the Atlantic in June from Newport, Rhode Island to Plymouth. Where did we go? South Hampton, England. And so that was training. And so, that's sleep deprived and, time on the boat, together. So
it's way easier to get up out of a slightly damp sleeping bag than it is out of a really cozy warm bed at home.
I'd imagine. Well, interesting. And then, so let's see, then that would be, so that previous race that you guys did, would that be considered like a practice run, or were there stakes in that particular trip?
No, that was just for practice. That was just training. That was to get the boat over here and have some time together on the boat and, try to shake out the bugs and see how fast we could get across.
Okay, cool. Now,
it was really only about half. That was only about half the distance of the race that we're about to do. So, from Newport to Southampton, England is half as far as it is from France to the bottom of Brazil.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So why don't you guys tell us, what sprung this whole conversation was you reached out and we heard your story about what you're doing. And one of the primary training methodologies that you guys have been following, preparing for this seemingly extremely taxing race that you're going to expose yourself to for like a month long, has been CrossFit, right?
Yeah. Well, I got introduced by a friend. Because sailing's really hard to train for because you can spend a long time with relatively small amount of physical activity, and then you could spend 12 hours constantly on the go. And I think for us, for like 24 hours a day, we're never, ever, ever still. Even when you're sleeping, your body's always moving. So it's kind of hard to find a training method where you get fit, but you get really strong. For us, it's really important to have good strength and super good core strength because we need a lot of balance and that helps us to stop getting injured. So a friend of mine started CrossFit a few months ago and introduced me. And then I dragged Rob along, who is not known for his love of the gym. And surprisingly, he really enjoyed it too.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it's been fantastic. We went to CrossFit Solent, which is in South Hampton, England. And I had never even heard of it before, but it's right up my alley. It's competitive at the same time. We do stuff for time, and it's really cool to see how fast you can do from the other classes that have been in during the day, to do the workout of the day and stuff like that. It changed my view on going to the gym. So it's been really great. Really has.
And how long have you been training like this?
I've been at CrossFit for just over 3 months, and you were what?
Yeah, a couple of weeks behind me.
Weeks behind me.
Yeah,
so it's going to be pretty fascinating. Just getting like a start level set up, and we got really into it, and you could see changes already, because it's so. I mean, one thing that we found with going to a normal gym is easy to get stuck in a rut, and you go and you stand on the treadmill for half an hour and think you've done, and you've worked out one portion of your body. Whereas the last 3 months, we've kind of really knackered every single muscle we own and seen really good results. And now we're going to go away and race across the Atlantic and lose all our body fat and sit on our backsides for 3 weeks. We're going to come back with very skinny legs and probably very strong arms. And it'll be interesting to go back to CrossFit and just to see what level we're at when we go back. Because I bet it's very different from when we
Now, but prior to CrossFit training, was that just what you do? I mean, did you guys? I guess Hannah, you've been in this game for 10 years. You said, have you always put a priority on your training outside of the racing, like whether at the gym or with a trainer or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm luckily for me, I really enjoy going to the gym. I tried my hand at running the marathon. I ran a New York Marathon in 2009, but I'm not a massive running fan, so I don't mind going to the gym. I've always trained for sailing because, we have to be pretty good at staying awake for a long time and living off very little sleep and sort of moving great big giant heavy sails around. And I'm not the biggest, heaviest person alive, so it's always been important to me to be as fit and strong as I possibly can be. And now I've found a way to do it, really enjoy myself and see the best results I've ever had out of any training I ever done.
So how about you, Rob? Prior to you finding CrossFit, I guess I picked up. Were you doing much in terms of training, or did you place a value on that type of preparing you for your events in terms of sailing?
I generally was sailing for sailing. I was using sailing as my workout. Going to work, pulling lines and whatnot, and being on a boat. I was using that basically as my workout. I am not a huge fan of going to the gym, and kind of, when Hannah started talking to me about this, I said, "Oh, forget it, I'm not going." And I don't know what kind of this. We're on a podcast here, right? So can you bleep me out if I say something bad?
Oh, we're explicit. Don't worry about it.
So let it flow. I'm a married guy, and my wife, I said, well, Hannah wants me to go to CrossFit, and my wife said, well, if Hannah's going to CrossFit and you don't go, you're a pussy. And so that really awesome. Kind of goaded me into going. And I went the first time, and they do the, what's it called when you go the first time? And they give you the baseline. The baseline I had to do, and it kicked my ass. Yeah. I couldn't believe how I felt terribly out of shape when I was done. And I thought that I was actually fairly fit. And so that just set me off. And, then from there on, it was like just end of the day, 5 o'clock. Okay, we're done working on the boat. We're done practicing for the day. It's time to go to the box and go work out. And it was great. So it's changed my view for sure. I used to just kind of float along and go sailing and feel like I was in shape, but now I really feel like I'm in shape. So it's been a big help.
Yeah. To give you a little insight, myself, Denny and Steve, we all either own, manage, or run or train at CrossFit gyms. We are literally exposed to individuals like yourself every day. They'll walk through the door, and I mean, Steve and Denny can probably attest to this. They go, I don't really like to exercise. I'll be honest. I don't know why I'm here. My wife called me a pussy, so that's why I'm here. And, they go through the baseline workout or whatever the introductory workout is. And that varies from gym to gym, but either way, people are not accustomed to showing up and all of a sudden, like, there's a priority on how much effort I have to put out. I'm used to just kind of walking around the gym, checking out my biceps and, maybe walk on a treadmill a little bit. So your experiences in terms of your exposure are common. And the 2 or 3.5 listeners that we have listen to this podcast, or the hundreds or whatever you want to call it, all of them found it the same way. They walk into the gym and they're like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing out on? And I don't know, Denny, Steve, you have anything to add to that?
I just echo what you say, Luke. I have a guy who is a minor league baseball player, comes in and he did his first workout, and he's been training since he was, 11 years old, running, lifting, whatever. Straight smoked by a housewife, and basically picked up his tail and was like, I don't think I'm ever going to come back. But of course he did. So it's an experience that everybody has. It's a humbling experience, the way we do things in CrossFit. So you guys had the right experience. I'm glad you guys are taking it on.
What I think is really cool about it is sailing's one of the few sports where girls and guys compete on the same level. There is no difference. There's no allowances for being a girl, no shorter distance we have to sail. And my friend who introduced me to CrossFit, she's also a girl, and we couldn't make it down to the box one night, so we went to the local park, and it was after dark. But we went there and we were going through some movements from CrossFit, and there was a group of girls doing a sort of attempt at some sort of CrossFit thing, and it was half-hearted and very gentle and not too much effort, and we were doing pull-ups and press-ups, proper ones, whilst they were doing sort of girl versions, and we were like, come on, girls, you need to go to CrossFit and do this properly.
Yeah, that's great.
It's been
that's an awesome story.
I'm curious, in Juliana's email, she had mentioned that part of your CrossFit training included deadlifts, rope climbing, pull-ups, explosive movements. Me not knowing anything about sailboat racing other than what I've seen on movies, how does that correlate when you're on a boat, controlling the boat? Did that make sense? How does what you do in a gym transfer over into, racing on a sailboat?
Well, I think a lot of it, like I said before, I think a lot of people think of sailing and they think of Jimmy Buffett and, drinking margaritas and watching sunsets and whatnot. Sailboat racing is hard work. And it's not just pulling ropes. It's just getting yourself around the boat. Pitching around. And so, like Hannah said before about, getting your core strong. I think that helped. I mean, obviously climbing a rope. I mean, I climb ropes on the boat all the time.
Well, climbing ropes, we have to pull ropes to hoist sails up, and those sails have to go 60 feet up in the air. And we have to pull those sails from down below, up onto the deck. And for a lot of those sails, I can only do this European terms, 30 kilos, which is half my weight, which is how many pounds, Rob?
30 kilos is 66 pounds. Yeah.
So we need to be able to pick these things up and throw them around and hoist them up and down and wind winches and pull ropes. So we need to have a mixture of sort of core strength and explosive power to be able to do that stuff quickly as and when we need to change sails.
And we actually just to add to that, we went to CrossFit, and then we took the owner of the box sailing with us so that he could see what it is that we do. And I made him turn every winch and put up every sail, just to get a little bit of a laugh, because he kind of giggles at me sometimes when I can't do a handstand or I don't know what. So right. That was a good way to get him to understand what we were looking for. And I think that he did a good job in helping us out and getting us kind of doing the right kind of workouts.
What did he do, if you don't mind me asking? I mean, what kind of direction did he steer you in?
He's really focused us on he looked at all the movements involved in like what we call sweating a halyard, like pulling a sail up. And I mean, for us, it's really 85% the strength we need is from the waist up. So it was a really big focus on arms, back, stomach muscles, to be able to sort of do all the stuff we need to do and throw the sails around as much as possible.
I guess I'm imagining kind of like a hand over hand pulling motion, right? From a standing position, and the rope would be in a vertical, pulling vertically kind of, right?
Yeah.
Now,
the hard thing to train for is that the platform that we're stood on isn't stable. Right.
Okay. Yeah, because I think what Denny is what's leading Denny into this, and I don't fault you guys for not knowing this, but the power athlete methodology, which is, I guess, an interpretation of training, is really understanding what are you training for. And that's our tagline. And how you guys took your coach out onto the boat, took him sailing with you, had him experience the demands and the stresses that you need to essentially train for, gives him insight on how he's going to replicate those demands in the gym and understand what are the most important components. And it's just cool to hear that, your coach went back, changed up the programming a little bit, probably put a little emphasis on, rotational movements, maybe single arm type pulling and pushing with dumbbells and barbells, or maybe kettlebells, stuff like that. And understands the demands of your sport and does as best as he can to replicate those in the gym, because, at the end of the day, while CrossFit and training is a great way to get physically fit, what you also have to remember is the test for you guys isn't necessarily Helen or Fran or your WOD. That's a tool to get you guys ready for this 25-day endeavor where you're going to have to be in peak condition and prepared to perform an optimal and the optimal abilities that you can. And all that is really built. All those habits are built in the gym. And that's, we travel around the world, and that's why I'm going to Argentina this weekend. Is we teach people that information, because as much as it should be common sense, a lot of people don't get it. If you may have gone to a trainer outside of CrossFit and then say, hey, I need to get in shape for this race, I got to be working long distance, for a long time. And they might have just thrown you on like the Stairmaster for, an hour. And sure, I bet you'd get in better shape, but it wouldn't prepare you for the demands of your sport. And it's just cool, and endearing to us to hear something like that that's going on across the globe, or across the pond, so to speak.
Yeah, and our trainer has although he's British, he was at university in the US, and he has a big history with American football. So he does a lot of CrossFit football training for teams in the UK. And so he was just really, really stoked to get the opportunity to come out sailing with us and get an insight into another sport, because obviously being based in South Hampton in the UK, you're right at the sailing centre of England. And the sailing population who are looking to CrossFit to get fit are now going to him because he's got an insight into it. And it's just really cool to see someone so excited to train us and to learn more about how he can do a better job of training more sailors in the future.
Yeah. I was going to ask that after Luke was done. How many people do you know in the sailing community who are starting to turn to CrossFit as a training program?
We had four of us?
Four or five of us training together. Three of us which are here right now doing this race in the same box. And that's early days. This box is getting bigger all the time, and the community's growing. And but in terms of sailors there must be probably 8 or 10 now, and it's growing all the time as we go there and we experience it and we spread the word. And the fact that we work a lot of hours on the boat, we may be out training for 2 days, come back, work in a boatyard all day, but we still are excited to go and work out at the box, because it's not just a great workout, but the community you tend to find there, people, the encouragement you get from everybody else It's awesome.
Yeah, it really has been fantastic. And especially being from America and being the only American at the box working out, it was nice to get like a slap on the back and a little fist bump, when you finish or you beat somebody for the first time on a time. It's really good camaraderie, and it's been nice, not just with the sailors, but with everybody else as well.
So wait a minute, let me get this straight. There's another team from this race working out at the same box that you guys are working out at?
One half of the team, yes.
Yeah.
So what do you guys got? Like a burpee bet on this? Are you betting 100 burpees? Who's coming in first?
It certainly won't be a burpee bet, I can tell you, because those things just kill me. No. We still have to work that out. Actually, we were talking about it today with him, because right across the street here, there's a CrossFit gym, and we were thinking, we've been very busy doing interviews and safety checks and weather briefings and all that stuff, but we were thinking about trying to hit that place and maybe bring the video camera so I don't know. We'll have to figure out what kind of bet we're going to make. I think it probably will not be anything physically related. I think it might be like a bottle of champagne or something like that instead.
Yeah, that sounds a lot better.
I mean,
that sounds a whole lot better.
I feel like, I don't know, having a physical competition with a 25-year-old. So,
what's going to be probably, if you could come up with like one of the greatest challenges of completing a race like this, does anything come to mind right away? Like one of the biggest challenges is going to be blank.
Just getting to the start line is pretty tough. Once you actually get out, then you cross the start line and you get away from all of the sort of administration and general land-based hassle, you kind of breathe a sigh of relief. But I mean, really, in terms of the race, the first week of the race has a potential to be really nasty weather, just because we're reasonably high latitudes here, and it's that time of the year where the low pressures come and crash into Europe, and it's not very pleasant, and it's really cold. And then we have to get across the doldrums, where we could be set going nowhere for a long time if we get it wrong. So trying to keep our sanity there is tough.
I'm kind of having like a castaway moment, right? Out on the middle of water. I mean, every direction you look, you see nothing.
Yeah,
I like how she referred to it as land-based nonsense.
The farther away I get from shore, the happier I get.
That sounds like a Jimmy Buffett song.
It sure does, doesn't it? I know.
I don't even know who Jimmy Buffett is.
Yeah.
It's a part of the CrossFit football dynamic warm-up.
Yeah, right.
CrossFit football has part of their warm-ups. They have a movement that they call Jimmy Buffett. Might have been a bad joke.
Well, it was inside. It's a little inside joke, Denny. Don't worry about it.
Cool. So how are you guys gonna eat? How do you obviously that kind of a stupid question. How do you prepare your meals on a race like that? 30 days out on a boat.
Yeah, 30 days worth. 30 days worth of food. Just real quick. Go ahead, I'm ready. For most of our listeners, 30 days worth of food is like, or at least for me, that's roughly
like 2 cows.
Yeah, that's 30 kilos of meat I'm gonna have to pack. Let's see what else. Then I'm gonna have to get maybe 40 kilos of veggies. And I'm gonna need a stovetop. Let's see.
Water.
Gallons of milk.
A whole bunch of dairy and milk, but so how do you guys prepare this, and what type of food's gonna finds its way onto the ship? And let us know. Tell us about the food.
This is where it all goes horribly wrong for us, because we love eating big steaks and vegetables, and we're doing a lot of that right now because it's the last we're going to see of steak and veg for quite a long time. So unless somebody can give us a dried cow, and we'd be quite happy to take it.
We have dried cow, actually.
We have no refrigeration. Our only cooking facilities is one little, what's called a jet boil, which boils water, but you can't cook on it because the flame's too fierce. So all of our hot food is freeze dried, which is pretty nasty stuff. And aside from that, we have ramen noodles, we have chocolate, flapjacks, and we have biltong and jerky, all dried meat, to try and get the protein. But we did a little experiment with our trainer at CrossFit, and because he follows a pretty strict paleo diet, and for one day and one day only, he ate like an offshore sailor and had noodles and freeze-dried food and chocolate bars, and the poor guy was in turmoil.
I would imagine.
He didn't enjoy it.
It sounds like a frat house, kind of. Ramen noodles.
It's not as bad as she makes it sound, really, to be quite honest with you. I actually happen to, how many calories did we bring? We brought
out of freeze-dried food, we have 73,950, and then you add in all the chocolate and the meat.
And I mean, the freeze-dried food has got some meat in it. It's got some vegetables in it. It's not the most wonderful, but I mean, it's not awful. Actually, one of our initiatives is we're going to grow some microgreens on the boat. So we are going to try to get some vegetables in there somewhere. I mean, it's not what I would eat at home. That's for sure. It's not, a big 24-ounce steak and half a garden full of salad.
So it sounds like you guys got your protein and carbs. What are the fat sources that you guys are using?
Very, very minimal. You'll find, like, the last time I did this race, I lost about 14 pounds in weight. And like, by the time we get there, we'll have very, very little body fat left, and it's not that much of an attractive look, because your legs go, body fat melts away, and you're just all arms and shoulders.
Sure. I guess, but in terms of food, like, do you have any veggie oils, olive oils, coconut, avocado, anything like that? Anything that's calorically dense in terms of fats?
We have some olive oil. That's about it, really, for fats.
If you've got some suggestions, we'd be happy to listen.
Oh, absolutely. So, and when it comes to performance, and that's, the whole concept is performance, right? But when you're talking about calories in, calories out, and essentially, like you're saying, Hannah, withering away to nothing, you're in a situation where you're hypocaloric. You're not eating as much as you're putting out, but some of the most calorically dense foods you can get are your olive oils or coconut oils, stuff like that. And essentially per serving, you're almost doubling or tripling your caloric intake. And at the end of the day, it's whatever you're going to be adapted to. So, I mean, you're how long until the race?
Starts on Sunday.
Oh, geez. So you're only a few days out, but that might be something to look into. Just and I know it doesn't sound like you guys are necessarily eating for flavor as much as you are more for performance, but bring a little more fat and add some fat into your diet throughout the day. You're just going to be a little more satiated, have some more energy. And it's just, you guys are up and draining for 30 days. You just got to be sure to feed the machine.
We do have quite a good supply of nuts as well. I forgot about that. So that should give us a few good calories.
Sure. But the cheapest thing you can do, and I know it's like I've done it, I do it, is especially on days exactly like today, I missed breakfast. I had an early class, and then we had an impromptu meeting with John. I didn't get to eat before this. I had a little bit of meatloaf and took a swig of olive oil, just because I want to keep my calories up, so I can, granted, I'm not training necessarily for a 30-day race, but in terms of my training schedule, I train 5-6 days a week, and then we do travel quite a bit. So I know that in order to feel prime and perform my best in the gym, I've got to have enough calories. So
are you saying that we could just add like a tablespoon of olive oil to the meals that I eat, and that would kind of just boost it up enough?
Yeah, I mean, that's going to put you closer to your BMR or your basal kind of your base caloric requirements for this activity is, yes, take a couple swigs of olive oil or a little tablespoon here or there, and then your nuts and seeds, those are great options as well. And then just, it sounds like you guys got it pretty well made. Granted, it's freeze dried and not optimal, but in terms of flavor, you guys got your proteins, your fats, and your carbs. And we like to say for an athlete that's going to be going through what you guys are going through, kind of a guideline. You're going to want to try to partition your macronutrients, your protein, carbs, and fats, probably like 40, like a a 40-40-20 where 20% of your intake is going to be protein, understanding that you're going to be in a catabolic state most of the time. And it's more about just really endurance. And then you need to split the other 80% with, let's say, carbs and fat. And see, but like in terms of tinkering with something this close to race day, I wouldn't do anything drastically different. So Rob, maybe like you're saying, just add a tablespoon or two of olive oil to your meal and see, it will give you more calories, and that at the end of the day, that's going to be a performance benefit.
Sounds good.
Now,
I think what we need to do, where are you guys all from? I
am in Newport Beach, California right now. Denny's out in the Midwest. He's in Chicago, and then Steve's in Georgia. Where you at in Georgia, Steve?
Well, right now we're in France, but
Steve, are you there?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was talking, but the mute was on. I don't want you guys to hear me chewing my lunch. I'm just outside of Atlanta, about 15, 20-minute drive into Atlanta. It's a town called Sewanee.
Oh, okay. Well, you're on the East Coast anyway. It'd be nice to get one of you guys out sailing sometime and see what you think in terms of how many calories you need to make your day go through. I think that'd be kind of a fun thing to try.
Heck yeah!
Try.
I'd be interested. Tell me where to go. Tell me where to go, and I'll be there. I'll figure out how to get there.
All right. Well, Juliana's got you all your contact info. After we finish this race, we'll see about hooking that up.
Yeah, because in terms of replicating the energy systems and demands of what you're going to be doing, I mean, it sounds like your traditional, and I call it traditional CrossFit because there's different varieties of it. One of which we publish, but the varying energy systems and time domains. I mean, that's exactly what you guys need to do, because like you guys were saying, you don't know if you're going to be working for 2 minutes and exerting yourself for 2 minutes or maybe 30 minutes. I mean, I can only imagine the exertion that takes place when you hit rough weather. Right. And Hannah, I think you were saying like last race you hit hurricane grade weather. Is that what you were telling us?
Yeah. For 10 days we're in severe weather, and like for sort of a couple of days it was near hurricane or hurricane force winds. So it's pretty demanding. And when you get into that, even when you get downtime, you don't get any kind of quality rest. So it's exhausting.
Yeah. And so to me, that sounds like, what you guys are doing for training and what your coach had you doing is perfect. The only other element of control, I think that you could, that you may have some latitude and freedom to is really the nutrition side of it. And it sounds like you're going the right direction. You're not doing anything like drastically in error, but if you're coming out withered on the other end, I don't know how realistic it is to bring more food, but just the calorically dense stuff.
The trick of it is, honestly, I mean, it's all like a weight. It's a weight of the boat ratio. You can't bring too much stuff. If you brought a spare and enough food, you always end up with a little bit of food left over. I mean, once in a while I've finished a race where you end up with you're eating nothing because we've eaten it all. But most of the time you end up with more. You bring more than you think. We try to keep each other. That's the big thing about sailboat racing, especially shorthanded, is making sure you keep an eye on your partner. Making sure that they actually do eat and that they're feeling okay and they're, taking care of themselves, because there's nobody else to look after you except them. So you kind of do that for each other. But I mean, in the end, we try to eat. I try to eat it like 3, 4, 5 times a day, a meal. And then every other time I'm on deck, I've always got, candy or cookies or cereal bar or something in my mouth. But it kind of drains away. You wear it away. Just being on deck, just standing up and trying to keep yourself from tipping over is work. So,
and now obviously the goal is to win the race, right?
Of course.
And now
if we weren't trying to win, we might as well stay home.
What are the components? I mean, I guess the weather, and there's scenarios that you could never predict, probably, right? That you're going to have to deal with. But how do you what components of the race is it the speed at which you can raise a sail? Does that matter? Is it your ability to navigate? What are the really the primary components of performance to really be the best out there?
I mean, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. It takes all the pieces put together in the right way to make it good. I mean, everything counts really. If we can do sail changes 1 minute faster than the boat next to us the whole way across the Atlantic, and we have to do hundreds of them, then it's going to be a lead. It's putting the boat in the right place. It's trimming the sails correctly 100% of the time. There always is an element of luck, like particularly when you get to areas like the doldrums and you get big squall clouds, and it might just be that a squall comes over and the cloud is a couple of miles across, and one boat gets lucky and the other boat just gets trapped, and there's nothing you can do apart from watch them sail away. So there is an element of luck, but really it's about just giving it 100% and never taking your eye off the ball in terms of where you put the boat.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Like most sports.
There's an old saying, right? That the harder you work, the luckier you get. So when you talk about the element of luck, your training is certainly going to add to you being more prepared and pulling ahead that extra bit, I think.
Yeah, well, where I agree with you. I think you make your own luck in life, and hard work and opportunity equal luck. And we've got a great opportunity here. We've got a great sponsor at 11th Hour Racing, and Hannah and I both, I'm not patting myself on the back. I'm giving her a big pat on the back. I don't know anybody who works as hard as she does, other than me. So I think that with the hard work and the opportunity we have, I think we're going to be looking pretty good.
What do you think you guys' chance of winning the races?
Oh, that's a tough question. We're already looking at the weather for the start, and the weather's pretty diabolical. It's going to be really rough for the first 2 days of the race, and there are teams here on like brand new boats who have great track records who in theory you'd say perhaps they're the more favored ones, but going out into rough weather in the first 2 days, it could be that their boat falls apart the first night. So I'm really superstitious. So I'd like to think, I always consider that everyone out there, including ourselves, has the potential to win the race, regardless of how old the boat is, how much sailing they've done on the boat. Everyone's a threat. Everyone's competition. And if you take your eye off the ball for even so much as a second, you're not going to be the winner. So, hopefully we'll be up there with the best of them.
Is there anything, what could you tell all of our listeners? Where could they go check out either your sponsors or what you're doing? Do you guys have a blog? Are you going to be connected while you're on sea? How can they keep track of what's going on?
We will be updating our Facebook page, Team 11th Hour Racing, constantly. We've also got a website, team11thhourracing.com. And the Transat Jack Bar, if anybody could spell it, also has the website. But our Facebook page will keep everybody up to date with all the latest info as it happens.
And we will be updating from during the race, so we'll have some videos to put up. And there's a race tracker on our website as well that you can follow along and see who's winning and who's where and what's going on. Because it is a long race, and so if you check in every couple of days, that'd be kind of cool.
And is it are you going to be under 11th Hour Racing, or do you have a team name? Or
it's Team 11th Hour Racing. 11th Hour Racing is the name of the boat, and Team 11th Hour Racing is our Facebook, and Team 11th Hour Racing.com is our website.
Great. Awesome.
That's awesome. Well, hey, best of luck to you guys. Would you be willing to come on the show again after the race and kind of tell us how it all went down?
Absolutely.
Can you guys take pre and post photos? I want to see the degeneration of your leg muscles.
Yeah,
absolutely. Actually, if you go on our Facebook page, we've got some pictures from the CrossFit box up on the website. Hannah's looking pretty buff. I could probably use a little more time, but but what are you going to do? But if you could check those out, and those are only from about a week and a half ago. And then we'll definitely take some pre and post pictures.
And Juliana can send you any pictures that you need us as well. So if there's anything on Facebook that would be cool for you guys to use, she can send you the real version.
Great. All right, guys. Hey, thanks a lot for taking the time. And honestly, best of luck. And you guys are going to do great. Just keep working hard. You'll get through it 25 days and then hopefully on the podium. I'm excited to hear about it afterwards.
You got it. Thanks a lot for having us.
All right, guys.
All right. Good talking to you guys. Thank you.
Good luck, guys. Thank you.
Take care, guys. Bye-bye.